Okay, now we're recording thrilling YouTube content. What's this, Alex? You're gonna talk about stars? You're gonna work on something? Or are you gonna upload but not list some D&D stuff? Are you gonna, I don't know, play some new game or go off on some interesting new tangent? No. No, what I am going to do is stream a little Islanders. That's right. That's right, Islanders. It's been a long fucking time. Oh. Well, I'll deal with that later. I got an email that I should have responded to a few hours ago. Now, Islanders. If you're not familiar with the channel, with the brand content here, Islanders tends to not be very gameplay focused. So if you're here for me to be a gamer, you may want to leave, because Islanders is therapy time for Alex. This is just me talking at the wall and kinda just spouting off. I don't know why, how it ended up being this way. Islanders is just kind of therapeutic. It's turned brain off enough that I like to just vibe with it. So that's what's on the agenda for today. Now, Islanders has received in recent, well, not in recent months, but in past months, updates. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I actually played and took a look at this. So why don't we just get back into it? Hit me up with a new game. I am very sure. Oh no, this score that I care nothing about. I got an achievement, yay, for this round that was from such a long time ago. I think we do sandbox or high score mode, right? Oh man, I've had a weird fucking day today. I started noticing, I think, like, God, I want to say Thursday evening. I was having a really good time. I was, how do you rotate? Mouse wheel? Okay. I was spending time with someone, having a very good time, and I got hit with a lot of kind of dysphoria out of nowhere. Really, really unexpected. And that's probably not where my headspace started, actually. I'm identifying it as starting there, but that's probably not where the party got started. Earlier Thursday, I was running D&D, and I was also pretty out of it. I wasn't really feeling up to it so much. And I felt off my game this week. People had fun and we had some good scenes, but I was feeling a little disassociative the whole time. But I pushed through and we had a good time despite it. But I think that kind of headspace I was in Thursday night didn't really stop. it did not cease. It just kind of quietly persisted. And what was yesterday? Yesterday was Friday. Today feels like Sunday. Seriously, it's crazy how long the last few days have felt. Time oh my god, what is it called? The your awareness of the passage of time changing with like mental states is very pronounced sometimes. Forgot to sacrifice the heirs of their vassals and let doom reach 100. I Yeah, I really wish I could point to like one specific thing that set me off, but I mean, that's the thing with a lot of dysphoria, is that it's not just one thing that sets you off. It's a lot of small things, and it doesn't necessarily happen all at once either. It can just slowly build up and build up, and I've been feeling pretty how to describe this? Negatively self-aware lately. Not well, actually, a little insecure. And that little insecure has since blossomed into just like outright insecurity, the way I was feeling today. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. Like, oh, anxiety and insecurity have the weirdest ways that they show up with me. The weirdest ways that they embody. Like, the most nonsensical conspiratorial narratives about the world, the most like brain rot kind of invasive thoughts that are, you know, if you put them under any scrutiny, they fall apart. But in the moment, always seem so big and so undeniably true and so like inevitable. And oh, how could I have not seen X, Y, or Z before? Like, of course, person can't stand me, or of course, relationship is never going to work, or of course, friendship was always just somebody amusing me and like too polite to say no, or like only sort of enjoying the relationship because they got X, Y, or Z out of it, and you know, just nonsense, just nonsense. And you know, these kind of nonsensical feelings come from a place of validity. They come from a place of validity with past experiences, with having been hurt, having been taken advantage of, having been um, put in a borderline and outright abusive situations, right? But just because those things have happened in the past does not mean that they are happening right now, does not mean that they will ever happen again. It's something that, unfortunately and almost inadvertently, you're going to be on guard about. You're going to be wary of. My brain had too much RFK juice. No, if I had RFK juice, I could at least point to a literal brain worm and go, oh, there's the problem. But instead, I have just like this esoteric, uh, like PTSD that I don't notice most of the time, and then crops up unexpectedly and fucking, you know, snipes me out of nowhere. Like I'm pretty pissed, to be honest, that I am struggling, that I'm having a hard time, that I have been dealing with anxiety because, you know what, no, fuck you, it was a good week. It was a good week. I had a really good week. I got a lot of motivation restored. I got a lot of work done. I got a variety of work done, not just like on passion projects, not just on work, but on both. I spent time with people that I care about. One person in particular I spent a lot of time with, and I had a really, really fucking nice week. I got to play D&D for the first time in the better part of a month, and despite me being kind of brain foggy as this bullshit was setting in, I had a good time, and we had fun. And I got to joke around with friends. Like, I have so much to be grateful for. I have so much in my life to be happy about. And I'm like loved and supported and cared for in such incredible ways. And no, just sometimes my brain refuses to understand it, refuses to see it, and instead has an easier time believing that it's all just a fucking lie. And it sucks. It sucks so much. Not just because I'm sad. Me being sad, not great. But it undermines my faith in my relationships and these other people. And it's I think that's the most hurtful thing about it. Stream dead? Stream not dead? Stream no dead. Stream live. Well, maybe stream dead. Bitrate on... No, bitrate's fine on here. Bitrate's fine on here. No dropped frames. What makes this so frustrating and difficult is the you had an outage. Uptime is at did I have an outage? I'm not seeing the outage on my end. Oh, ooh, you're right. Yeah, you are right, because the ads reset too. I didn't even notice. The biggest, most annoying part of the depression is how rational it feels at the time. How completely rational. How I'm able to weave together nonsense, right? It's nonsense about why person or persons are just kind of tolerating me and don't actually like me and or are using me, or whatever else. Using me for what? But it feels logical. It isn't logical. It's emotional, and it's irrational, and it's borderline paranoid and insecure and anxious. But that's the thing about being irrational, is that irrational feels rational when you're irrational. It's the best. It's the best. I think also to be gentle and kind to myself, there is some sensitive territory that has been touched on, and some soft spots I wasn't really keenly aware of that are having attention brought to them. Just awareness of baggage, just baggage generally, but baggage from past relationships particularly. Well, my most recent relationship particularly has been on my mind a lot lately. In the context of, I have a friend you may know, who's going through some stuff and having a pretty hard time with their relationships, and it's a lot, and it's pretty easy from the outside to go oh, that's a sinking ship. Why are you still on that ship? It's sinking. You need to get off of that ship. That ship is sinking. What are you doing? And watching somebody just be utterly in denial about it has primed me a little bit to be well, fuck, I hope that I'm not that stubborn or in denial or desperate to not be in denial. Their ship is dead, yeah. And for sure, there's something really identifiable and familiar about that. I've had very many times in my life, especially with my relationship with Dash, with Desi, where it felt like things were falling apart, and then I would try to rally, and I would come up with some new fucking strategies, and I would read some more, and I would come up with new techniques, and we'd have conversations, and we'd write and talk about things that we would do differently, and that would last a month maybe, and just over and over and over and over and over and over and over, because I'm stubborn, and I don't give up when I clearly should. What a fucking level! You putting it all the way up there? Why are you putting the obelisk way the hell up there? Statue, whatever, suck my dick. What a rude ass placement. Islanders. me actually commenting on Islanders gameplay is, shit's getting very rare moment. So like I said, it's very familiar where this person is and what they're going through, and this like refusal to let go and trying to compromise and sunk cost fallacy and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, holy shit, yeah, it rhymes. I've been there. But it's still, I don't need to tell you that it's hard to be around or uncomfortable to be around, or um especially with like age and hindsight and context. It's easy to look. I'm not being an old patting myself in the back, being like, we're not dumb like those young people. I was a young people once, and I'm still dumb now, right? I'm not doing that. What I am doing is going, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes like that in the past, not letting go of things when I knew that I should because I was too afraid of losing what I had, even though I didn't particularly like what I had. I was just scared of being alone. Sure, we've all been there, but man, it's hard to see from the outside and trying to hold space for somebody when honestly, a big thing that I'm doing right now, a big thing that's so important to me right now is trying to recognize my own boundaries when it comes to how much I can help people, how much I can hold space for people, how much I can be present for people. And this is making me think about that and be thoughtful about that and aware of, hey, I care and I want to, be able to help and hold space for this person who, clearly needs it, and I am fond of them and I would like them to not be having a hard time, but also like it's not my responsibility to. And drowning people will drag you down with them. People who are desperate will cling to whatever they can. And I'm aware of that, and I don't really want to be dragged down by somebody who's panicking. So yeah, I think that has been an aspect. But like a bigger aspect, if I'm being honest, and I talked about this on TikTok earlier today, in a very bitchy video, which I would not recommend. It was me just uh, complaining as I got out of bed and was talking about like executive dysfunction and was being a little too real and a little too raw about like, man, that got very red with Sunrise, with like, I don't particularly like me today and it sucks and I don't know why I don't, and like I here's all the reasons I should like myself, but like it's not sticking today. So it the content's out there. I uh, my sense of self-worth and sense of security has been fucked by this past year. It has been worse in my life. I think it is on the mend. I think we're trending in a good direction, but like frankly, I have a lot of shit going on. I've been out of work for over a year. I was in and out of a relationship I should have just been out of. I have been cutting out so many small forms of joy and enjoyment and pleasure in my life for the sake of frugality, for the sake of trying to stretch budgets, that I've like really stripped away a lot of the things I love. I've been socially isolating a lot in the past year because I've been trying to deal with my own shit, and common mistake, withdraw and don't want to bother other people with my stuff, even though I know they care. I still feel like a burden. Don't do that. Don't be like me. I'm a bad example. And like all that aside, bitch, I am I'm on HRT. I'm on HRT, and my mental state is the equivalent of like a teenager in terms of what's going on hormonally. And I have lived experience to help balance that out. You know, I'm an adult, but these it doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it easy. And plus the whole being a trans non-binary angle is I'm getting hit with so much fucking dysphoria that I just taken for granted a lot when I was younger. So much that I just taken for granted and just kind of been like, nah, tough it out, get over it. It's a consistent theme. It's a bad consistent theme that I'm like that. That's toxic masculinity, baby. But being I'm just juggling a whole fucking lot right now emotionally. And if some days I have a hard time liking myself because of irrational reasons, I think that's bound to happen. But I think there's a lot of validity in something that my ex used to tell me a lot when we were first dating. It's that I don't have to do things alone. Now, they were saying that because they were feeling insecure and they wanted to feel close to me and they wanted me to like co-process things and co-regulate things in a way that I wasn't really comfortable with. And they were feeling left out because they were left out and they didn't like that, understandably. But like, I wasn't really comfortable letting them in. I have got to be more comfortable with co-regulating with people. Not being codependent. Very different thing, but co-regulation can be okay. Can be a good thing, in fact. I'm just very averse to it. So I was in this super insecure place today. I was trying to distract myself. Nothing was distracting me adequately. I couldn't really focus on anything. No media was interesting. No games were appealing. I was like really short-tempered in all the conversations I was having because I was emotionally unregulated or dysregulated. So like my brain was just like not happy. Just not happy and not getting satisfaction from anything I was doing. It's great. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go get groceries. I'm gonna get groceries and like get some food because that'll do the trick. Spoilers, it didn't. I got some food, but I was just like half disassociating at the grocery store, and I took so long because I'd pick like one thing up and then realize I wanted something on the complete opposite end of the store, not think about anything I wanted between there and where I was, and just keep ping-ponging and bouncing around. It was slow. But hey, I did it. Yay, good job, Alex. You barely did it. On the walk home from the grocery store, I passed a family. A family of tourists, clearly not from here, all had very East Coast accents with a dad yelling at his family. His, like, 3 sons, 2 daughters, and wife. Big family. But him just, like, yelling at them loud enough that I could hear them 2 blocks away with headphones in, loud music playing in my headphones. And they were coming in my direction. I didn't make out half of what they were yelling about. Like, he was bitching about how he always had to be the one to decide where they were going and nobody would speak up and why was it yada yada yada. Like, just some passive aggressive bullshit. And it, like, the answer to why am I always the one who has to figure out where to go? Well, dude, it's because you're really aggressive to your family. They're clearly uncomfortable around you and are afraid to speak. That's why. That's why, man. Like, I've seen you for all of 10 seconds, and I can get that read. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Wait, where are you at in your own relationship that you're not picking up on this? And at one point, he starts getting in a standoff. I'd say screaming match, but he was the only one really screaming with his oldest son. He was standing in the street, and I damn near lost it. He wasn't blocking traffic, but there was just something very familiar about my own upbringing, about that kind of behavior, about an emotionally dysregulated father figure taking it out on his children and spouse. Not with physical violence, but emotionally and passive aggressively and socially, and not managing his anger. And because I was already so dysregulated, I immediately was in the same fucking headspace that I was in as a teenager, and like, oh, I need to step between this problem and the people the problem's focused on. I need to put myself in the middle of this. And I didn't. You know, I had the wherewithal to not step into somebody else's bullshit, but fucking martyr complex coming online. My brain's been in a weird place today. Not like that bad of a place mentally, right? I'm not like a risk to myself or anyone else. I'm not destructive. I'm just like very unhappy. Very unhappy. I was talking about earlier today that, you know, I have a lot of reasons to like myself. I think kind of objective reasons that generally are good enough for me to be like, I like me. Or I like X, Y, or Z about me. You know, I'm smart, I'm compassionate, I'm passionate, I'm empathetic, I love so much and I care so deeply, I'm so curious, and I'm so smart and I'm so clever, and I can be so fucking charming and funny and so helpful, and I am like the kind of person I want to see more of in the world, where I just want to do good by other people and help make the world just a slightly less shitty place. I should love me, and I don't. I don't sometimes. Like today, I just don't. Not for any particular reason, not for any distinct, specific reason, just generally not liking myself. And it sucks. Because I deserve to like myself. I'm pretty okay. I think I'm alright. Like, the fuck thing about depression is, well, I said pretty much this exact same line earlier, but one of the fucked up things about depression is you can have wonderful, intelligent, charismatic, beautiful, insightful, just wonderful people around you, telling you how much you mean to them, telling you how wonderful you are, and you can't believe them. And it's not that, like, you think that they're lying. It's just always some shitty excuse or another. Like with some partners I've had in the past, I'm like, well, you're just lonely. That's why you like me. Because I'm giving you attention. You only like me because I'm fulfilling a want or a need, and that it really has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you. That I'm just a tool. I'm just a puzzle piece. And it sucks to be in a position where you feel like that, right? Not great for me, not great for the people around me. I'm sure it's got to be fucking awful to hear somebody you adore talk about your affection and your adoration in that kind of way as well. And I haven't been feeling like that today. I haven't been feeling like that this week. Somebody needs to put a fucking hit out on me if I start questioning the judgment and good taste of the person who's had me acting like a fucking schoolgirl all full of butterflies this week, because I think very highly of them. I have a very high opinion of their of them. I mean, and but like I feel like they're a really good judge of character. I feel like they're really insightful. They're really smart. And if I start doing this kind of petty, bitchy nonsense, that feels not great. So, trying to sit with this on my own is insufficient. So I've talked to a couple of people today, checking in with where I'm at, explaining what's going on, just to describe my behavior. I don't have specific asks that I want or need from them or anyone else right now. I think what's probably true is probably something that's true about me that I don't want to admit. I probably need more affirmation, more affection, more security and reassurance than I want to. I almost surely need more than I want. And you might think, Alex, well, that's a silly thing to feel insecure about. Of course, everybody wants affection and attention and affirmation. That's a completely normal, rational, basic ass thing. It is. But I have felt like and been told in the past, particularly as a teenager and a young adult, that I was too needy or too clingy or too intense, that I was too much. And I believe that there's validity to a lot of those things, because at times I was coming on way too strong. I wasn't being aware enough, or I lacked the context for an awareness of what other people's experience was like, how desperate I was coming across, how hot I was coming in, if you will. Earlier I was talking about someone who's been struggling a lot, and I've been trying to hold space for them and yada yada. Well, they are a great example of coming in too hot in a way that I feel like I certainly did when I was younger, just being very intense and overwhelmed. Honestly, just overwhelmed and trying to get help and make sense of something that wasn't going to get better, but I was in denial about it getting better. I think it is probably the truth of it. So yeah, I think I need to make peace with me being squishier and needier and softer than I think that I am. Than I've gotten used to telling myself that I am. That's kind of scary. Because, like, yeah, that's a good thing, right? But it's also a really scary thing, because if you admit to that, if you profess that, if you share that need, that opens you up to rejection. That opens you up to reaching out for other people and them not reaching back. And when them not reaching back, that just confirming whatever terrible stories that you've made up about yourself. So that's scary for you, and that's scary for the people around you that you might think or feel or react or have that initial impulse that's so negative, that's so strong, that has such unnecessarily negative connotations. Yeah, I don't have some succinct takeaway here. I really don't. If I did, I wouldn't be playing Islanders. I'd be sitting feeling smug and patting myself on the back. As you do. But like that childhood trauma I talked about, I mean it pairs very well with this martyr complex thing, and very young telling myself that I needed to get over things. I needed to just put myself in harm's way. I needed to quit being so childish. Like, I stopped participating in Halloween when I was 11 or 12 because I just told myself I was too old. No one ever told me that. I just felt like, oh, I'm too old. I need to grow up. I was always so desperate for the affirmation and the validation. That's the word. The validation that I was an adult or a peer or an equal. And the way I saw to get that peerage, to be treated in a way that I thought that I wanted to be treated, was to try to put aside childish things, because as I interpreted it, people looked down on me because I was a kid, which is true, which is just actually the case. But a little precocious kid or teenager being like, I'm gonna be mature for my age. That's not the solution, man. The solution to recognizing that, oh, I live in a world that's kind of cold and doesn't value youth and treats us as less than human, isn't to isn't, to like take all of this youth and suffocate it, to excise it from oneself and the efforts of becoming more presentable, more adult, more mature. It's so heartbreaking that I ever felt that way, and it's devastating to look back on doing that to myself and no one's stopping me. Like, I was a smart kid. I was a very insightful kid. I was so good at reading people. I was so good at so much, but that, I wonder if there's a point where it stops, where finally you're done processing trauma. I know the answer to that is no. There is no end point. There's no finish line. You don't go to therapy and then get a nice little trophy saying, "Hey, you did it. You've been therapized. You are all better now. You are no longer mentally ill." No, it's just a thing you slowly work on your entire life. It can flare up even decades after the fact. And you just need to be patient with yourself and gentle and do your best, because you're human and that's all that can be fairly expected of you. But that's true for other people, right? For other people, not for me. For me, I'm built different. I just need to get good. I just need to, be okay. I don't get to be sad. I don't get to be insecure. I don't get to struggle and with harrowing regret look back on a youth that I butchered myself for the benefit of no one. I'm fucking stubborn and stupid, and it is a very strange thing to be self-aware of. It's a very strange thing to be self-aware of. It's not a strange thing to be. Plenty of people are hypocrites. But being aware of your own hypocrisy and being like, yeah, no, that's the rationale. Is it right? No. Is that how it works? Yep. Is there anything I can do to change that? Not quickly. Eventually, maybe, yeah, but buddy, it's just kind of doing its own thing. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck set me off this week. I don't. I I remember being in this call with this person, having a really cozy time, seeing what I looked like in the camera and going like, ugh, I don't like this lighting. I don't like the camera angle. I don't like how I look. I feel like really gross. And just like a wall of insecurity. And it wasn't something I was going to bring up then because I'm not going to start fishing for fucking compliments because I'm feeling insecure. That's just not going to happen. But that happens sometimes. Dysphoria sets in really fucking fast and hard sometimes. There'll be days where I look in the mirror or look into the camera and see my reflection, go like, oh yeah, I look really cute today, like I really like my hair, and like I like my eyes and my jawline even, and I look hot, I look good, and I feel really good about how I look. And there's, I'm pulling something off well right now, and it's a like neat little recipe, right? It's not it's mine. It's unique and it's mine and it works and I like it. And then there are other times where I look in the mirror, like today, where my hair was all fucked up, is still all kind of fucked up and not frizzy in the normal way because I took too long of a bath yesterday and didn't shower afterward because I was depressed. So it looks a little funky. But then that one fucking thing, Dysphoria is just gonna take and be like, looking a little silly? Are you sure that this isn't normal and you don't look just kind of silly and bad most of the time and you're just selectively choosing to remember the few times where you do look good? A shitty thing. A terribly shitty thing to think about myself. A thing I would never think about anyone else. Certainly, even if I thought it about somebody else, which, I hope I wouldn't, I would never say. Just very casually imagining about myself. It's great. It's just, yeah, just wonderful. It's dandy. Dandy. Brewing would be down here. Or up here? Fine, yeah, let's go with farming. I've been avoiding it. I don't want to be boring. I don't want to be a fucking drag. I don't want to be a downer. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be struggling. I want to be exciting and inspiring and cool. I do. I do. Especially when you have like kind of new relationship energy or you're really excited about someone or like a new social environment even if it's not just one person, like it's a new like school or job or whatever, and you're wanting to be your best self and show off and be, a little bird strutting off doing its dance, showing off like, "Ooh, look at how pretty I am. Listen to my song. Chirp chirp. I'm so wonderful." You don't want to slip up and start showing all the ways that you're not, and that you are imperfect, and that you are flawed, and that inevitably, at the end of the day, you are human, right? It's stupid. It's such a stupid, unfair standard to apply to yourself. When I don't apply that to other people, other people's flaws and imperfections can be fucking adorable and endearing and beautiful and so dear, and make me just want to like love the person and hold them and tell them everything's going to be all right. But apparently, when it's me and I'm perceiving my own humanity, my own faults, my own shortcomings, my own anxieties and insecurities, it's not a thing deserving of patience and love and comforting. It's a thing to be scorned and looked down on and begrudged. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Because like look, if these people don't want the complete version of you, if they just want an easy, palatable, superficial version of you, that's on them. But would they have stuck around long enough to be your friends if that was the case? Probably not. Would they have stuck around? Like one person in particular, like the one me talking about getting all butterfly about, would they have listened to you bitching for years about similar things if they didn't care, or at least find it entertaining? Like if they were really put off by it, don't you think by now they would have said something or fucked off or put up a boundary and established that? Don't you think this other human being, so capable of making their own fucking choices and speaking their own goddamn truth, don't you think, anxiety brain, that they would have done so? And that the world isn't just quietly judging you because it's too polite to fucking say anything? No. No. As irritated as I am, and I am quite irritated with my insecurity here. I am going to give myself props and I'm going to give myself credit. I am being very cognizant of how the insecurity and anxiety is working and acting. I'm being very clear, I think, in the ways that it's not true. I'm very aware of the ways that I'm being irrational. And I hope that I'm speaking effectively, at least somewhat, to some of those things. Which I guess is progress. I guess is progress. It's better than going, oh, what was me? Nobody really likes me. I suck so much. I wish I weren't, alive, or I, want to yada yada. I don't, by the way. Oh, I'm alive and I'm committed to the bit at this point. I was gonna say happy, but obviously not happy right now. But I'm committed to the bit. I want to see this through. I'm not gonna get out of the show early. I wanna see where this bullshit goes. I think committed to the bit is a great way to express that. I'm glad. I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad that I'm weathered enough at this whole depression and anxiety and insecurity thing that I can go, well, okay, Alex, these are some feelings, and these feelings are fine. But the feelings also aren't completely true, right? And you need to calm down, take a breath, parse things out, and think about it. I'm in it for the long haul. 5-year long haul con to save myself 350 if I ever take a plane trip and when I go to an escape room at your old workplace. Right? It's the stupidest fucking brainworms, right? Going like, oh yeah, it's my use case, which is why these people like me or love me or adore me. It's I really suck, but they're tolerating it for some other reasons, right? It's one, I don't suck unless it's in a fun way, in which case I do suck. But like generally, I as a person do not suck. I feel like it sometimes. I felt like it today. And like, hey, Alex, you're not that valuable. You're not that valuable to like lie to. And that's the kind of fucked up logic that'll read to depressed Alex brain. Like I'm valuable in a relationship. I'm valuable in the comfort and security and partnership and presence and like so many emotional, sentimental aspects of what I offer people. Jesus Christ, I'm a great fucking partner. I'm a great goddamn partner. So why don't I just let myself believe that? Like if I woke up to the kind of stupid sappy bullshit that I write and that I record and that I make, I would feel so lucky. If I were dealing with somebody as flirtatious as me and like obviously interested as me, I would feel very, I mean, lucky if I was interested and like flattered if I wasn't, right? So why then do I feel like a fucking burden? Because I would never feel like other people were a burden if they were exemplifying the same sorts of behaviors that I'm uh demonstrating. Like there's something that I'm trying to interrogate, something I'm trying to pick apart, something I'm trying to point out that I'm like, this is not rational. I don't know what it is, but it's not rational. There's something in this fucking anxiety that is clearly irrational, that is clearly nonsensical. And it's, it almost feels like if I could just point to this one specific thing, that'd be great. It'd be a fucking cheat code. And every time I'm feeling this way, I could just point to this thing again and go, no, dummy, remember this thing? Remember this thing? You're being ridiculous. But, I think some of it is reflective of my past relationship and not being made to feel like a good partner. Despite being a really fucking good partner. Being told that I wasn't caring enough about things that I did care enough, but just intuitively could not understand when it came to their autism and their worldview and their needs because of their autism. And I read so much about it. I listened to so many fucking videos. I sought out like autistic friends or friends with like autistic family members and like tried to learn more and more about what their condition was like and the ways that that condition can vary from person to person. And it just didn't click. It just never made sense. And like the ways in which I was asked to behave or change or modify my behavior in order to accommodate them didn't feel appropriate, didn't feel okay. It always felt too much, and then I was made to feel like a bad partner because I wasn't unquestioningly going along with what was being asked of me. And God, if they could fucking hear this, they'd be, you're just acting like a victim. Why do you always have to act like a victim? You're not the victim here. Blah 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 blah. As if people cannot express a negative fucking emotion and a negative feeling outside of a context of victimization. I'm not a goddamn victim, right? It was just a bad fit. And the feedback that we gave each other often negatively impacted the other person. I think they weren't a villain. Certainly I'm not. I don't think they have it in them to be a villain. To be rude, I don't think that they have the like the like manipulative social capacity to be villainous. I don't. I am fucking tired of fighting myself. Been doing a lot of reflecting today and yesterday on like, why don't I like myself? Where did that start? And like inevitably it always goes back to childhood, early teenage stuff. Trauma with dad, with forcing myself to grow up, with not getting the kind of affirmation and affection that I wanted but never asked for, and feeling so scared and insecure in like my family structure and the adults around me and their relationships with one another that I just tried to tough it out and I tried to be okay and I tried to be strong for everyone around me without really thinking about myself. Christianity had a lot to do with that. Dude, fuck Christianity. Fuck Catholicism particularly in this regard, with this glorification of martyrdom that young impressionable kids and impressionable people more broadly would look to as like what does it mean to be a good person? I want to be a good person. I want to help people around me. Oh, I gotta be a fucking martyr. I gotta go put myself at risk for other people. I need to put my body in harm's way to interject between another person and danger. That's how I find validation. That's how I find purpose. That's how I find virtue. That's a dangerous fucking lesson to be teaching a kid. It's a dangerous lesson to be teaching anyone. Yes, it's beautiful and incredible when people act selflessly and out of compassion and out of love and protect one another and stand up for one another. Abso-fucking-lutely. But that is an expectation, a model of behavior that you should be, Christ-like. You should be as martyr-like as possible. No. 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 You have an obligation to love yourself and take care of yourself. And I think we have an obligation to one another to try to make this world a better place, or at least a less painful place for one another. But damn, dude. This whole fucking martyr complex thing, I started becoming keenly aware of the curious ways in which it would express itself and does express itself when, like, a few years ago, 4 years ago now, during the protests where I was, like, being shot at and tear gassed, and in the midst of clouds of tear gas going like, huh, I should have a fight or flight response here, and I don't. Something's not... Something's a little fucked up here. That's the PTSD, buddy. Having kids has gotta be terrifying. Fucking terrifying. Because you know you're gonna fuck up. You know you're gonna fuck up. And you know that every little mistake you have, if you're not careful, could traumatize somebody for life. And that's if you're being thoughtful about it. That's if you're being careful and thoughtful and mindful and gentle about it and, you know, thinking about the other person like a human being. Not if you're being like the dad I saw today, who's a self-righteous, egocentric little fucking baby. Or like my dad, who never wanted to be a dad, was never ready to be a dad, never really stepped up to be a dad. You know, no offense intended, but like calling a spade there, right? I get it. I get it. I totally get it. I too would not want that responsibility. So, you know what I do about that? You know what I do about not wanting that responsibility? I don't bring life onto this fucking planet. When I fuck people, I make sure that it doesn't result in a human life. I am aware that there are consequences of my goddamn actions. I'm okay. I'm irritated as hell. Honestly, I'm so irritated. I really need some sort of dopamine or serotonin, and I don't know where I'm gonna find it or get it from. I'd really like to be comforted. I would really like a very long cry, but I haven't been able to cry these last couple of days. I've tried, just hasn't happened. I want catharsis. Catharsis is specifically what I'm looking for right now. What I'm really longing for. I don't know what shape it needs to take. If I knew what shape it needs to take or what shapes it could take, I could ask people for it. I could go, hey, I'm feeling really insecure. Could you tell me some nice things about me? Hey, I'm having a really hard time. Can you remind me that you like me? Or, hey, I really need to get out of town for a little while and just, like, be away from people. Or, you know, whatever it is. Hey, can I sleep in your bed tonight? That kind of thing. Some of those asks are much more expensive than others, granted. I'd love to have that kind of clarity on what I'm wanting right now, but I'm kind of blind to it. I am kind of blind to it. It sucks. It sucks. Absolutely sucks. Again, this friend who's been dealing with relationship stuff, a relationship very much falling apart, and it being an important relationship to them, one that has been like a foundational, central, future building, planning, etc., aspect to their worldview, and you know, they've been talking about how hard it is dating somebody who's depressed so often. And I'll level with you, that's kind of close to home. It's kind of close to home because I'm like, yeah, I know how hard it can be to date me when I get depressive. But like, I feel like I'm pretty good at taking ownership. Like, I'm not, if you gotta date someone with depression, date me. Because I'm familiar with what I'm going through. I'm comfortable with it. I'm used to it. I can explain what's going on. I'm not going to intentionally shut you out. I'm going to try to make an effort to be like, hey, I'm unconsciously shutting you out, or I feel like I'm starting to do this. Can we talk about that? Or I just wanted to bring this up, or yada yada yada. I'm pretty good at that. Granted, I'm also apologetic for the space that I take up, and I'm bashful, and I'm shy, and I'm apologetic for having needs and wants, but I am getting better. I'm getting better at it. The last two relationships I've had, last two serious long-term relationships I've had, meaning more than just fucking or dating for 6 months. Um, both have ended because, in some part, my depression. Because of my depression. There are other aspects, many other aspects that played into it. But like, my depression has been a consistent element of making people feel pushed away, of people feeling um like they just don't know what to do, or like they fell in love with this like puppy dog version of me, this happy Alex from when I'm having good days and good times and not going through a depressive cycle. And they fell in love with this idea that that was me, that that was all of me. And then when I get more complicated as a person, when I get more nuance as a human being, when I have more depth, and when I start showing, no, I'm also very sad sometimes, and I'm also like really poetic, and I'm imperfect, they get turned off by that because it's not what they signed up for. Which, granted, I get it. Do I like it? No. Do I think it's fair? It doesn't really matter if I think it's fair. I think it's valid. Shitty, but valid. Sucks to hear, but you know what? Fair enough. Oh God, this last year sucked. Man, I parts of like my, but sad puppy Alex is hot. Yeah, see, you get it, you get it. Um, I think sad puppy Alex. I wouldn't say hot. I'm glad you feel that way, but sad puppy Alex to me is like poetic and beautiful and sad, yeah, but like sad like a really moving piano piece, or sad like the rain, or sad like blue or purple skies, sad like a quiet tune on a cloudy, foggy afternoon, like sad in a way that revels in the sadness, sad in a way that revels in that part of life, not sad in a way that hates that part of life. When I'm sad, I try to find the fucking beauty in it, because there is beauty in it. And it sucks so much when you have smart, caring people in your life, people who say that they love you, people who do love you, or at least love parts of you, that then can't see the beauty in this thing that you've had to find the beauty in, and you've made beautiful in that effort. When all they can see it is as a fucking problem because it's superficially uncomfortable, it's raw and it's vulnerable and it's intense. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. It's very nice. Um, the whole sad puppy Alex is hot line. You have no idea how fucking affirming it is when when you specifically are like give affirmation that it's good or okay for me to be sad. It's the it seems like such an obvious thing, but it feels really good. It feels really good to feel seen and not judged and not like it's not the judgment. I think that's the fucking problem. Both of them, my past long-term relationships, both of them treated the depression, treated the sadness like a problem to be solved when it's not a problem to be solved. It's just how I'm feeling. I'm not a problem to be solved, right? These are my feelings. Telling me that my feelings need to be solved or fixed hurts, and it makes me feel rejected, and it makes me feel pushed away, and it makes me feel diagnosed or clinicized. That's not the real word, but you know, you take my meaning. When folks get more obsessed about telling me how I should feel about the way that I'm feeling rather than listening to how I'm feeling. I think we're almost done here. I think we're almost out of moves. I couldn't get the gold mine down here because I got carried away and I knew I was doing it and that it just was too late to undo it. So we're not getting anything out of the jewelry or the gold mine, which we kind of need. These parks, this park isn't going to pull it off, and that circus isn't either. So we might be about done. That's okay because we're over an hour. We're over an hour, and I used to like to cut these to an hour. So, like, in summation, I'm okay. I'm having a bad day. I've been having a rough few days. I've been feeling really insecure and, like, neurotic in my head, and I've been making up the most irrational fucking worries and fears about people getting sick of me or not liking me or gonna get tired of me or overstimulated. But like, if any of those things happen, they can just tell me. They can just talk to me. I don't need to be afraid of it because just like any other problem, if they care about me, and the assumption is they care about me, because if that's not the assumption I'm making, that's undermining what they have repeatedly, exhaustively said. If they care, then we'll try. And if we try, we may fail. And that's life. But preemptively trying to cut off parts of yourself to self-correct so that you don't get hurt or rejected or pushed away or whatever else, it's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it, and I know it, but I'm carrying a lot of anxious baggage from past experiences, and it's not ever quite as easy as just knowing what is correct or incorrect, unfortunately. So I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. I'm going to be okay. Tomorrow is a whole other day of the weekend. Day after is a whole new week to get a lot of stuff done, to be productive. I have a meeting on Monday that should be fun. I have a couple of interviews tentatively scheduled for next week, which are better than nothing. I have a lot to look forward to. I have a lot to be grateful for. Just talking with people that I like and I love, especially like spending as much quality time with this specific somebody this last week, has been a fucking gift. Has been a goddamn gift. And instead of getting in my head about like, ooh, yeah, what if I lose it? Just fucking celebrate that you had it, dipshit. I do not know, and I cannot speak to, when any other content is coming out. it's a lot of Dawn of Victory stuff, and a lot of that isn't making its way to YouTube because I don't really think it's worth making it here, honestly. Not to YouTube anyway. I'd really like to play Daggerfall at some point. I'm still, bandwidth isn't really there. I have a lot of other stuff I'm excited to play, but maybe not to stream to Twitch and YouTube. They might just be like playing on my own or playing with somebody else in private. There's actually like two games I'm really excited about right now, neither of which I want on Twitch or YouTube for different reasons, but similar reasons in a way. They're both very sensitive. One sensitive in like a well, actually that wouldn't break the rules on Twitch. On YouTube it would. And the other sensitive in a I don't want to cry on camera kind of way. So, I don't know, nerds. Something will be back at some point eventually. Lord knows the streaming happens every few days, so that's probably the best place to go until tomorrow, the day after that, till whenever. I'm gonna say toodaloo. Take care. Be nice to yourself, motherfucker, or I'm gonna get you. Bye bye.